You've probably heard the headlines, Charlie Kirk's death ruled a closed case. But what if the story we were told doesn't actually match the timeline? Candace Owens says the facts don't add up. And whether you like her or not, the inconsistencies are too big to ignore. This isn't about politics or drama. It's about accountability. It's about why, in a free country, truth keeps getting buried under convenience. When any high-profile figure dies suddenly, clarity should come first. Timelines are the backbone of truth. They prove sequence, motive, and intent. But in this case, that backbone seems fractured. Owens laid out a series of claims backed, she says, by internal leaks and whistleblowers. They reveal gaps between what officials said publicly and what insiders were reporting in real time. And when you map those gaps out, the picture gets messy fast. Security failed at the exact second Kirk stepped outside. Footage malfunctioned. Rooftop access was unlocked for a few minutes that shouldn't have existed. That might sound like coincidence, but if it were anyone else, would investigators have already stamped the case closed? That's the heart of Owens' argument. The system rushes to closure faster than it rushes to truth. She's not claiming to have all the answers. She's saying the official answers don't line up with common sense. And she's right. When evidence disappears, the people deserve to ask why. Weeks before the incident, Owens says multiple warnings were sent and ignored. Venue requests for added perimeter security were reportedly denied due to scheduling conflicts. That's not conspiracy, that's paperwork speaking louder than people's lives. Maybe it's incompetence, maybe it's complacency, but either way, silence isn't clarity. And when transparency is delayed, trust collapses. We've seen this pattern before. Every major national tragedy seems to follow the same choreography. Shock, confusion, a draft of the full report, full of redactions, then a polished final version that contradicts the first one. By the time the truth surfaces, anyone's attention has moved on. That's how accountability dies. Not with denial, but with distraction. And Candace is calling that out. She says, slow down, show your work, stop treating the public like children. Because when power hides behind procedure, democracy starts to rot. Think about how quickly the media narrative solidified within hours of the story breaking. Lone failure, procedural mistake, no foul play. The ink wasn't even dry before the conclusion was written. If you've worked in journalism, you know how chaotic events unfold. When things are truly confusing, it takes days, sometimes weeks to verify details. But this one, wrapped up with a bow before the public even processed what happened. That's what fuels skepticism, not fringe theories, but the appearance of control. The faster they tell you, don't question this, the more you should know. And Owens isn't just asking questions. She's standing in the gap for millions of Americans who've stopped trusting institutions to tell them the truth. That mistrust isn't irrational, it's earned. So let's zoom out for a second. How many times have we been told to move on from unanswered questions? From the missing footage? From the unexplained delay in security response? Every time we're given the same comforting phrase, ongoing investigation. But that phrase doesn't mean they're working on it. It means they've locked it behind a door and you don't have the key. That's what this story represents. Not just one man's tragedy, but the bigger question of who decides what the public gets to know. Because the moment the government controls information, it controls perception. And once perception is controlled, guess what? Reality follows. Owens' warning is that we're drifting toward a culture where the truth itself becomes negotiable, where citizens are told to sit down and trust the process, even when that process contradicts itself. She's not promoting paranoia, she's promoting vigilance. And there's a big difference. Now, let's be honest, some people tune her out because they think she's being dramatic. But there's nothing dramatic about wanting accountability. If a 20-year-old with no criminal history can bypass multiple layers of security at a major public event with a rifle on a rooftop and in broad daylight, and we still don't have clear answers, that's not drama. That's a failure that's worth investigating. If security footage can vanish in an era of cloud backups and digital redundancy, that's not a glitch. That is a decision. Owens isn't saying there's a grand conspiracy behind every door. She's saying there's a pattern behind the excuses. And she's absolutely right, because power always protects itself. What she's really warning about is fatigue, the fatigue that keeps Americans from caring. The voice in your head that says, "It's not my problem," because that's how powerful win. Not through domination, but through distraction. She's tapping into something deeper, a moral call for awareness. Freedom isn't protected by people who shout the loudest. It's protected by the people who stay curious when everyone else looks away. Candace Owens refuses to stop asking the uncomfortable questions. And whether you agree with her politics or not, that tenacity matters. Because the second we stop questioning, we stop deserving answers. And maybe that's the real danger here. Not just a lack of truth, but a loss of courage. A nation that stops demanding accountability isn't free. It's managed. So what do we do about it? Well, we start by paying attention, by reading beyond the headlines that are shown us, by challenging every easy answer with one hard question. Who benefits from my silence? Because silence is profitable, distraction is marketable, and outrage, if it doesn't lead to awareness, it's just another form of control. Charlie Kirk spent his life pushing back against complacency. Whether you agreed with him or not, he believed in asking uncomfortable questions. And maybe that's why his death resonates the way it does. Not just because it's tragic, but because it feels unresolved. Owens is picking up that baton, saying what millions of Americans are thinking, but don't know how to articulate. We're done being pacified. We want transparency, not theater. We want truth, not talking points. We want systems that protect citizens, not narratives that protect power. That's not division. That's healthy democracy. So here's the takeaway. The story isn't about Candace Owens or Charlie Kirk or even politics. It's about whether the American people still expect and demand honesty from those in charge. Because when truth becomes optional, freedom becomes temporary. History has a way of repeating itself for those who stop paying attention. And right now, Owens is daring America to keep its eyes wide open. If she's wrong, time will tell. But if she's right and we stay quiet, we'll lose far more than one man. We'll lose the very thing that defines us, the ability to hold power accountable. So maybe the real question isn't whether her leaks are accurate. Maybe it's whether we're still caring enough to find out. Because when truth dies, nations follow. And if you're watching this today, maybe you feel it too. That pull inside that says something isn't quite right. That's your instinct. Don't silence it. Let it drive you to think, to question, to stand up, to demand better. Because this story, and others like it, remind us of one thing. The fight for truth never ends. And as long as people like Candace Owens keep asking questions, maybe, just maybe, we'll still have a chance to get it back. Stay aware, stay vigilant, Watchmen out.